Hello there.
Hello there.
Welcome to another episode of What If Qui-Gon Didn't Die with me, Jamie.
And I'm Sean.
And this week, we're going to discuss what if Anakin was made master.
Anakin.
Now, this is I think this has got broad consequences.
It's a broad concept, this, because it's difficult to define if it would change anything or if it would affect the outcome of the story in general, him becoming a master, because some of that hurt was already there. Because I made a mistake in one of our other episodes, and I said that he killed all of the sand people in episode 3. I don't believe he does. I think it's episode 2.
Oh, okay.
When he's still got the rat's tail. The little Padawan beads. So I think we'll have to delve into this quite deeply, because there's already things in motion that whether he got made a master or not in that third film, would it affect it greatly? Over to you, Graham.
Well, I think as we discussed in that last episode, we do get confused between episode 2 and 3 quite a lot. I think it's easy to define stuff that happens in episode 1,
yes,
as opposed to yours, because it's a very definite point in time.
Yeah,
Anakin is little, Qui-Gon's still there, R.I.P. Those characters are definitely episode 1 characters.
Yeah.
To me, episode 2 and 3 is one big story.
Yeah.
Cut in half.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there.
So I think it's difficult sometimes to remember which bit happened in which side.
Yeah.
And apart from a rat's tail on his head, it's just not.
Yeah, it's like you say, the story flows quite well between both. I mean, if you forget the 7 seasons of Clone Wars in between.
Well, yeah.
In between. And then the Bad Batch after the third film and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is actually a really good point, because with regards to the Clone Wars, which is after the second film and sort of as the third film's coming around, obviously, Ahsoka Tano's in them. You don't see her at all in the films, but that's George Lucas and Dave Filoni sort of little thing anyway. So much happens in the Clone Wars that if you watched the third film now, after the Clone Wars series, you would probably think, why is he being like that about being a master? Because he's been a general of his own little mini army in the Clone Wars. Spoiler alert, it's all about Clone 7 of War. There's millions of them, okay? Yeah. Anakin sort of is a general of his own things. That's how they divvy it up. The Jedi, most Jedi have their own sort of battalion of clones, or whatever they call it, like a little squadron or whatever. So he's done all that. He's been in loads of battles. He's had loads of adventures in the Clone Wars. I've said before about the Mortis gods. He's done all these sort of cool, explosive things, Anakin has, to show that he's the chosen one. And then in the third film, because of the way canon works, you're seeing him moan about being... I say moan, but he's obviously frustrated about not being made a master. But I think if they remade that third film now, he wouldn't be so worried about it, because of everything that he had done in the Clone Wars. I don't know if as a person he would still feel the same way, unless it was like a spoiled bratish syndrome that they try to portray it as. Because I don't think in the third film that's what they're going for, the spoiled brat. Is it that the role of master is more respect, a title of respect, rather than it's not just about ability, it's not just about what you've achieved, it's just about recognition? I think so in the films, but then again, if I go back to the Clone Wars, he was General Skywalker. Yeah, and he controlled his own battalion, and they did his every bidding. And he didn't go on every mission with Obi-Wan, who was his master, because obviously he was given Ahsoka, who then had her own battalion of clones by the end, and then went off and did her own missions as a young 14, 15-year-old girl with these grown men with guns, while Anakin and Obi-Wan were off separately doing their own missions separately. He already had that respect and power by being a general of a battalion of clones.
Yeah, they wouldn't have given that to anybody.
Yeah, and I know he was the chosen one and, all of this, blah, blah, blah. But he, in the Clone Wars series, he's still technically a child. And he was given, and yeah, he's a good fighter. And because it's all that action-packed, isn't it? That sort of prequel era, it's all a bit more showy.
Yeah, it is.
But he already had that respect and the power to control other people. And I know that the master, he wants to be on the council as a master, and he has, he's had Ahsoka Tano, and he's had his Padawan, and she's done really well, and by the end of the Clone Wars, it's quite a sad end to the story, but her progression with Anakin, he is actually quite a good master.
Oh,
It just goes to show that even though we don't see it in the films, Obi-Wan has actually spent time with him. And then, but yeah, so for him to then moan in the council that he's not made master, I think to look at this question, we have to disregard what he's done in the Clone Wars to then rationalise it for ourselves. Because if we try and rationalise it with the Clone Wars stuff, I just come to the conclusion, well, that's just like he just wants power now.
Yeah.
Whereas if I take away that and I just see the film Anakin, where he's still quite young, like we said before in the Padme episode, he's had all of these things come onto him. He's got a hidden wife, kids on the way. He's stressed. He's worried. Palpatine's whispering in his ear. Film Anakin alone, I can understand it more why he'd be upset about the master.
Yeah, it does make sense there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't see him get the opportunity in the same way either.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
I wonder as well, you mentioned there about him wanting to be on the council.
Yeah.
So if you're a master, the chances are the council's going to take your opinion more seriously.
Yeah.
I don't remember a situation where he stood in front of the council asking for something, or talking to a council member asking for something, and that council member giving him the green light on anything. He was almost fighting a rebellion against the council with every turn, because he knew what he wanted to do.
Yes.
But he was never given permission. And I might have forgotten something, but I think if he got the role of master, his opinion, he wouldn't need to seek counsel anymore, because he would be able to, unless it was a really important issue.
Oh, yeah.
Like bringing. I think Palpatine might be a baddie. That's going to go in front
of the Sith.
Yeah. That's going to go in front of the council, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas, I think on general day-to-day stuff, he doesn't have to ask anybody. He can just do what he feels is right.
Yeah.
Because he's already got the respect of the council in the first place.
And he's already that master, and he's already got the stuff. So yeah, it's really difficult this.
Yeah.
Because everything you said then, because of the Clone Wars, I view it differently. Because he's already had that. He went off and did what he wanted anyway.
Yeah.
He had his own ship. Do you know what I mean? He had his own guys who would do exactly as he said. If he said, "Oh, Captain Rex, we're going to go and do this," I haven't told the council because I've got a hunch. Because it's that Clone Wars era and everything's, like I said, like action packed. It's all all a bit for littlings. It's got to be enticing, or Anakin's got to be super cool dude. It's taken away that need for the respect and that need for the I'm going to do this because I have a handful of control now.
I think another way to look at it, perhaps, like you said, you can split. You can include the Clone Wars in how it looks, or you can just stick to the films. In the films, he doesn't get any of that respect, does he? And he starts his training in a relatively peaceful time.
Yes.
So that rank of master means something. When they get to the Clone Wars, it's carnage everywhere.
Yeah.
It's almost every man for himself.
Yeah. Well, it is war, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the Clone Wars.
So the council can't really control him and say, you can't do this. They can guide him if they've got time, but most of them are busy fighting somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
So in the Clone Wars, he would have to take control because there's nobody else to talk to.
Yeah. No, you are.
Whereas
right,
when we watch the films, yes, the fights are happening, but the council is always there, and it's still quite.
It's a prominent factor, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's an old school setup that didn't work in that situation.
Yeah.
Because it was a time of war, not a time of peace.
Yeah.
And they are peacekeepers, not
warriors, really, are they? They're not supposed to be fighting other races just because they don't agree with them. Yeah, good point there. Although I think, just to quickly, we'll finish the Clone Wars sort of stuff in a second, but I think even in the Clone Wars, I think the scenes where he was talking to the council, I still think, unless I'm like crossing my mind between film and not, I still think the council disregarded him, maybe a smidgen, and maybe that's why he just went off on his own in the Clone Wars. It's a lot to rewatch to refresh my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to add to your comment, I think there were some points where obviously the writers went, we need to show him. Yeah, there's some points where that they'll disagree with him, and I think the writers obviously put that in there to show that it needs to be canon with the third film. So even though he does what he wants, there are points where you see the council say, no, we're not going to let you do this. But yeah, that's my little Clone Wars tirade of this section done, because it's just important, because when we do get round to talking about the Clone Wars properly, there are a few things that make you think that's really cool, but now when you watch them within the other films, say you did the whole timeline thing on Disney Plus, so you do the whole timeline watching thing that you can do that they've set up, you will get to episode 5, and you'll go, wow, that's a bit of a jumble.
Yeah.
A lot of that doesn't make sense now. Not because it's not written well, but just because of the way things are said or acted upon, and you think, but that's not their character at that moment because of this other thing that's been done. But that's neither here nor there, because we're talking about that one moment in that film. But yeah, he does get very angry about not being made master, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's definitely hurt about it.
Yeah.
So if he was made master, obviously, I suppose we can choose different times that they might make him master and see what we think might happen. So obviously he's never going to be master in the first film.
No.
So let's disregard that. So it's only really episode 2 and 3. So then we've got to choose points of interest within those films that might make a difference. And then we can actually bring in some of the Clone Wars stuff as well, because he is training Ahsoka Tano
at the point during the Clone Wars. Yeah. But here's another little thought then. When he went to Tatooine and killed all the Sand people, they obviously had his mother.
Yeah.
Do you think, because I know he went back and told Padme, do you think the council found out?
Sometimes in the films, they just feel a disturbance in the Force randomly. Not always.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 voices screaming out for help. Anakin is very powerful.
Yeah.
Even as a child, his power level is beyond compare.
Oh, he's like a final boss.
If something changed in him, you would think that the council members, Yoda especially, would be able to pick up on something not being quite right. When they tested young Anakin, Yoda said he was cloudy.
Yeah.
He couldn't see the future for him because it was too... Yeah, he just couldn't work it out. It could go either way. but they let him come on as a Padawan and a Obi-Wan, so they spend time with him. They know what his aura would be like,
Yeah.
how he should present himself. And you'd like to think that after he's gone and killed the Sand People, he's come back and somebody might go, "There's something different about you.
Yeah, you've grown a bit. Or there's a shadow over you, or something like that."
In normal day-to-day life for us, you might meet someone and then they might have some sort of traumatic experience or something change in their life, and the next time you see them you might not say to them, but you think, "Oh, yeah, there's something different about you. Are you okay?"
Yeah.
You don't know what it is, but you can sense from that person's sort of general being. Jedi are supposed to be intuitive in this way.
Yeah, more sensitive to stuff like that.
Yeah, so you'd like to think that somebody's going to see Anakin and go, "Is everything all right?"
Yeah. Bro, what's eating you?
Yeah. Your lightsaber's looking a little bit dirty.
Yeah.
It's a bit sandy. What's going
It's a
on?
bit sandy. There's a little bit of blood on there. Yeah, I think the same as you there. But this is the thing about the films, because obviously it's a story and there's got to be a plot. So I don't. So obviously my question was, do you think the council found out? I don't think they knew. I think he probably came back, told Padme, and that was in the second film. And then when we see him in the third film, he's past that point because now he's already worrying about Padme and all of those issues we discussed before. I think because it's when they assign him a place on the council, but isn't it the same meeting where they ask him to spy on the Emperor, but they deny him Master?
Yeah, I think
because I think it's that whole one big point of them asking him to do that big job, and then going, "But actually, you're not a Master.
Yeah,
but can you do this for us?" I think if they in that meeting granted him Master, and they said, "Okay, we got a big job for you. You've trained Ahsoka." Obviously, they didn't know in that when they wrote that film, but you've done all these great things in the Clone Wars. That's all they had to say, because obviously the Clone Wars was canon. They could have just said, after all your victories in the Clone Wars, they don't even have to mention Ahsoka or anything like that. You can be Master. I think he may have gone into Palpatine and actually felt a bit better about himself, and then Palpatine wouldn't be able to feed on his despair.
His low self-esteem.
The worrying about Padme, because he wouldn't worry about Padme as much if he was made Master, because I think in some weird little nobule in his head, he might say, "I might be nearly powerful enough now because they believe in me.
I can protect you."
Yeah, because Yoda has said, "I'm a Master now."
Yeah.
Instead of being like, "They don't think I'm strong enough." Because that's probably what he's thinking.
Yeah.
They don't think I'm strong enough or good enough to be a Master.
Yeah, they've killed his self-belief.
Yeah.
And because he doesn't believe in himself, no matter how good he is, no matter how strong and powerful he is, which he clearly is.
Clearly.
Even though he's not good enough to best Obi-Wan, but he still is ridiculously powerful.
Yeah.
He cannot see it for himself.
No, which is why he needed the recognition
and he got somebody to massage his ego, and he allowed himself to be groomed by Big Daddy Palps.
Big Daddy Palps and his wonky nose. Yeah, but this is it, isn't it? So he went there, and Palpatine knew instantly because obviously he's a massive Sith Lord.
Yeah,
so he's gone. There's some despair here. It's like Sauron looking for the ring.
Yeah,
he glanced his eyes over Anakin and went, "Pew. Come here, boy." And then yeah, like you say, he massaged him because he knew that the despair was there and all he had to do was feed it. I know how to help you. The Jedi Council was silly, because they need to be. He thinks obviously they need to be disbanded. So in his own weird little way, Pounce is trying to get that gone anyway.
Yeah.
So he's saying, "Don't worry about it. You don't need them because they're going to be gone soon anyway." Sort of thing. But you'll be all right because I'm going to show you what to do, and I'm going to invite you along to meetings so you feel like you're getting involved, even though it's all one ploy. But yeah, I think if he was made Master in that meeting, for example, I don't think Palpatine would be at first. Palpatine would be able to feed off of that despair because he would feel better about himself, like you say.
Yeah,
he would feel good enough to protect Padme.
Yeah,
and maybe later on down the line, them dreams might come back, and he might feel like he can't protect her, and then Palpatine would feed on it later on. But that initial meeting and everything we see in the films with Palpatine building up to that point would either be delayed or lessened. Because he would have that self-esteem and he would have that recognition from others that he is good enough.
I think it plays a big part. His own self-belief plays a massive part.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And if he'd been made master and then spied on Palpatine, maybe would have seen a side of Palpatine that Palpatine didn't think he was going to show.
Yeah.
But because Anakin would perhaps had clarity,
maybe he'd be able to see it. Yeah,
he'd be able to see this insidious side of him that, you know, he's been keeping secret from the rest of the council members.
Yeah,
and from everybody.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, maybe.
And this is another point as well. You know, and we've made a podcast about this, but it's not out at time of speaking. It's not released yet. When it comes to, obviously, the death of Darth Tyrannus, if he was a master, he probably wouldn't have done it. Because he wouldn't be able to be manipulated as much by Palpatine, and he would have been, maybe, because he was master, he would have been sent on another mission, and Obi-Wan would have gone on his own.
Yeah.
To save the Emperor, because they needed another master to go and do another mission. Obviously, story-wise, that's rubbish, so they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
They're going to send Anakin and Obi together, aren't they, to get him. But having that rank of master and that self-belief and, you know, the storyline that Palpatine can't manipulate him because he thinks he's good enough to be master, maybe he wouldn't have killed Count Dooku.
It's interesting, isn't it? I'm trying to sort of play this forward. So I'm trying to think of the storyline moving up. He gets made master.
Yep.
Has clarity. He actually brings Palpatine to justice before things get out of hand.
Maybe. Never
becomes Darth Vader. In a previous episode, we said maybe every situation results in Anakin becoming Darth Vader. However, perhaps him becoming master would be the only thing that would stop him from going down the wrong path and staying on the light. Arguably wouldn't have brought balance to the Force.
True.
Because it would have just all been light side. I think we've mentioned this previously. Balance has to be baddies to be goodies. You can't be good without bad.
This is it.
So, but
that's a thought. That's a thought. That. But then, as about this, so he's made master anyway, and then he goes off and does these other things. When it boils down to it, even if he's master, will he still believe that Padme's going to die? Because it's not the Emperor that really makes him Darth Vader. It's the thought of losing Padme which allows him to be manipulated. So, because if it's the only thing that can prevent him being turned into Darth Vader, everything else that we've obviously discussed will also have to change for him to have a perfect sort of sailing boat experience to the third film, and Palpatine going into hiding as, you know, what's his face, ugly mush, you know, and everything else, and Padme actually maybe being all right, and all these other things, and him not crossing the line with Dooku, and him not being manipulated. It would have to, him being made master would have to coincide with all these other things that we're going to discuss and we have discussed being flipped on their heads to allow him to just not dip.
So perhaps, and this is just popped into my head, so bear with.
Okay.
Skipping forward, in the latest trilogy, there is a mind gap created, isn't there, where Rey and Kylo Ren can see each other and they can talk to each other, but they're not present together.
Oh yes.
Now I know this is a later thing, but what if, because this is all theoretical, what if those dark thoughts, those dreams that Anakin was having, those nightmares, were actually put there by Palpatine? If he was able to manipulate his mind to see this negative outcome, because remember, he's already in a dark place. He's already full of despair, low self-esteem. He doesn't believe anything's going to go his way, including Padme surviving. He is seeing his own despair is fueled by everything around him turning to dust. If he was made master and his self-esteem was higher, and he couldn't have he had that clarity that he wasn't able to be manipulated in the same way by Palpatine, would he have had those dreams? If he'd never had those dreams, he would never worry that she was going to die. Therefore, he would never chase that I must protect her at all costs. If that makes sense.
That does make sense. And you know what? I think you might be right, you know.
The downside to that is what a boring story.
Oh, yeah, there'd be no Star Wars. It's exactly what we said in the first episode, though, isn't it? There would be no Star Wars if it was like that. So this is why this is all theoretical, and it's good to chat about it. But I think you're actually right. Because, yeah, if he had that self-esteem, and I don't think Palpatine's putting them dreams in his head, because he does have, like, foresight, or whatever it's called. So he's got that power where he's going to dream the future anyway. There's a few Jedi who can do it. Because he's able to get over that, maybe he wouldn't force a situation where Padme dies anyway. Because like we discussed before, you know, like he does push her over.
Yeah.
And then that obviously creates problems in childbirth, and you don't know if it's him or just the childbirth that kills her off, or the broken heart or something.
It was the broken heart, wasn't it?
Broken heart, yeah. Oh yeah, I remember you saying yes.
So actually, this then puts, if he doesn't become Darth Vader, or if he is of positive mindset, he doesn't see himself in a negative light, never becomes Darth Vader, doesn't have those dreams because they won't exist, because he will never be Vader, which gives her the heartbreak that kills her.
Yeah.
It's a real domino effect.
It is, yeah.
But it all starts from that, like just that little. It just takes one little moment in time, changes the course of everything. I think, yeah. I think there's some.
I think you got a good theory there, and when you think about it, because as well, coupled with the fact that he's still, we say in every episode, he's a young lad. He's a young lad with a strong heart, full of testosterone, pumping round.
Impressionable.
Yeah, impressionable. He's only got Obi-Wan to sort of father him.
And he's away half the time.
He's away, you know.
Getting milk.
You know, Uncle Mace is just a knob towards him. And Grandad Yoda just can't seem to agree with anything he says.
Yeah.
Being made master and knowing that he has the right now to make those decisions. It's like having your 18th birthday, isn't it? And they go, right, you're a man now.
Yeah.
In this country, anyway. They go, right, you're a man now. Yeah, you feel that sense of, all right, yeah, I've got to do this on my own now.
Yeah. I'm now responsible for my own actions.
Yeah. So maybe, yeah. If he's made master, that's almost his way of going, I am now old enough to deal with things.
Yeah.
And they don't just have to be dealt with a lightsaber.
Mm.
And then what would be even better is if they said, we're going to make you master, but we want you to stay away from Palpatine because we think issues here.
Yeah.
And
we need somebody more experienced.
Yeah, so even though you've been made master, we're going to send Obi-Wan to look after him.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or maybe I'm going to do it, says Mace.
Or the guy who's got clouds for a haircut.
Yeah. Or any one of those Jedi that sit around that thing.
Doing nothing.
Yeah, literally just sits there.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting Grievous and stuff like that. But yeah, and then he would go home to Padme, give her a little smooch and be like, do you know what? We're going to be all right. Because I'm a master now.
It's funny, isn't it? As you expand the ideas, the consequences become so much more just different. Everything becomes so different.
Yeah. And it's one little sentence. We grant you the rank of master.
Yeah.
And bang. Dun, 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 dun. Presented by George Lucas, because the films are over. There'd be no episodes 7, 8, 9.
Yeah,
because there wouldn't have to be.
No.
Because there'd be no Darth Vader, and there'd be no Empire, because if Mace or Obi-Wan went to look after Palpatine, yeah, come out in the end. But, he's a bad guy. Not, he's a bad guy and turned the strongest Jedi we had on our side to the dark side of the Force, who's now going to sort of rule things behind his back. Because who would he have as his second in command? Dooku?
Yeah, maybe.
Dooku's going to get old, and if Dooku survived and Anakin was master anyway, Anakin would be trying to hunt down the Emperor. He'd constantly be fighting Dooku, who in the end would give up anyway.
Yeah.
Because you think of how strong Anakin is, in time he would have naturally beaten Dooku. He wouldn't have to kill him. He would just beat him. And Dooku would go, all right, done. I don't want to be your apprentice anymore, Palpatine. And then he would find somebody else, and it would just be a continuous thing until Anakin found him and light prevailed.
Yeah.
But as well, if he was made master, and I'm going to flip back towards the Clone Wars now.
Yeah, go for
just
it.
A little
Sprinkling.
little sprinkling of pixie dust on there. That would mean as well that even if Order 66 still happened, because Anakin was a master, and obviously he wasn't enthralled by Palpatine, and everything you said is true, there would be no youngling massacre at the Jedi Temple.
No.
And even if the clones went to do it, Anakin would probably be in the temple
And
defending them.
Yeah.
And the end of the story would probably be that the Chosen One gave his life defending the temple. And then you find Grogu, and then we have the Mandalorian season.
And all these younglings grow up to be Jedi of their own.
To be Jedi of their own. They find Luke.
Yeah.
Maybe, because by the end, Padme,
She might
is still pregnant.
And she might still die of heartbreak.
She might still.
Because it might be loneliness,
Loneliness and Anakin dying, giving his life for something that was good, but or maybe there'd be some other story reason why she passes away, while she gives childbirth, but they would then maybe find Luke, and the story would be the same, just it wouldn't be Darth Vader with Luke, it would be some other Sith that Luke would then fight. And imagine Anakin giving his life. Instead of killing the younglings, getting killed defending the younglings. He can't defend himself from 1,000 clone troopers shooting their blasters at him, because they can actually aim as well.
Well, yeah. They're not stormtroopers.
No, they have a red dot sight on their guns. They know what they're doing.
Makes all the difference.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but and then maybe And then maybe he'd come back as a Force ghost, and he would then work with Obi-Wan to balance the Force. Maybe he would find Luke at a younger age, and instead of Ben Kenobi monitoring Luke,
Anakin would be doing it.
Because Obi-Wan wouldn't have to go and hide. He wouldn't become Ben Kenobi.
And Luke could just suddenly see this ghost and be like, "Who are you?"
And he's like, "I'm your dad, son."
"I am your father."
Yeah. But it'd be a good thing, because he wouldn't have to go and live with Uncle Ben and Aunt Beru.
No. You'd be like, "I've buried the gold on this planet. Just head over there and you'll be set for life."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Uncle Obi will look after you. He's not crazy old Ben Kenobi now, the old wizard.
No, because he wouldn't be in hiding, would he? So
that series.
He might still.
He might, if Palpatine still was a naughty boy, maybe he would. But he's only hiding because he's looking after Luke.
Yeah, from afar, he's keeping an eye, isn't he?
So maybe for that still to happen, Padme would have to give birth, and Obi-Wan would still have to go and look after Luke on Tatooine. Maybe he'd say, "Rob, we'll still take him away." Yeah, because Palpatine's still out there, and our strongest guy has just been killed.
Yeah,
in a rampage boss fight. But yeah, what a crazy thing. No Darth Vader, but Anakin was just loved and adored. Every planet has a statue of him outside the Jedi temples.
Imagine.
Yeah, and it's just him stood there,
not like a dictator.
Yeah, just a little memorial.
Yeah, I wonder if we, in the course of this podcast future, if we find another theory or find another situation where he doesn't become Darth Vader.
I don't know.
Or Palpatine loses.
Because in that scenario, Palpatine doesn't lose, does he?
He doesn't. No, he doesn't need to lose.
He just doesn't get Anakin to become Darth Vader.
But that's a massive setback for him.
Yeah, massive setback, and for us.
Because you watch episode 4,
Yeah,
Darth Vader's straight in there. You know who the baddie is.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And it's not until the second film that you see the Emperor proper, is it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because the first film's very much Tarkin.
Yeah.
Tarkin and Vader and Ben, and they don't even call him a Jedi much. It's just he's a funny old coot wizard who lives in
A space wizard.
Space wizard who lives in the thing. Yeah, very Dungeons and Dragons because they had no other concepts to go from.
No, that's it, isn't it?
All right, so let's move aside from that because we've sort of fixed Star Wars there.
Yes.
What if they made him master after the point of asking him to look after Palpatine? What do you think would happen if he looked after Palpatine for a little while? He had learned about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, and then Mace Windu said, "You know what? Something's going on here. Let's make him a master and see if he actually, bucks his ideas up a bit." Do you think he would have already gone too far with Palpatine, even though everything we've just said about self-respect for being a master and all of all them little gubbins?
I think the short answer is it's too late.
Oh, yeah.
I think once he goes back to Palpatine after being asked to spy on him, that's when Palpatine really starts to get into him.
Yeah.
That's when his influence really comes through. He is then saying the council doesn't believe in you. Then they make him master, hypothetically. And he goes back to Palpatine and goes, "They just made me master." And he goes, "Yes, of course they have. Because they want you to think that they respect you, but they don't." And it still plays on his mind because he just thinks to himself, well, maybe they don't. Maybe it's just an honorary title. It doesn't come with the same weight that it should do.
It's too late now, almost.
I've not got it on merit.
Yeah.
I've got it on pity.
Yeah. Look, yeah, this is it.
And at that point, it's too late. And now he's just a Jedi Master killing the younglings.
Oh, don't say that.
I know, but it's true.
Oh, shivers down my spine.
But I think that's the difference. I think it's when they recognise the work he's done.
Yeah.
And they accept him as a master at the right time really affects the outcome.
Yeah.
Too early, he's probably too arrogant.
Absolutely, yeah. Second film,
yeah.
Too early. Too early in that.
But that film. Moment before he has to go and spy on Palpatine, that's the prime time. Anything later, it's too late. He's spoken to Palpatine, self-esteem shot. He's been influenced beyond.
On repair.
Yeah.
He is drawn in at that point, yeah, to be taken alive, basically. Which is a shame. But yeah, I think you've nailed it there. It's got to be that one crucial moment where they say, "All right,
yeah,
you can be master," but they can't just. But this is the thing again, because he's so young and arrogant and strong, headstrong. They can't just say, "All right, we'll make you master." It's got to be this. We are going to grant you the rank of master. Come with us, because you've got to kneel in the temple or whatever it is they go and do. Or this is your trial was this, and you did it.
Yeah, they've got to justify. They have to justify it, and they have to make him realise why he's earned the rank, not just why he's been given it, but why he's actually earned it.
Yeah, and what they viewed his trial was to then get there. Because, if all the Clone Wars wasn't enough, then I don't know what is.
Yeah, I imagine that most Jedi Masters in their lifetime don't achieve half as much as Anakin did in the first 20 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly that. Or even had a Padawan, even though they're still not a master. But yeah, okay. How's about this then for a quick little question on the side? What if he was made master, and this is pushing it now because he was a bit too young. What if he was made master before he found his mother at Tatooine. Because there was that whole mini storyline about him looking for his mum to try and, bring her out. What if he was made master and instead of sneaking off to Tatooine, because that's what he did, isn't he? He went on his own, he snuck off with R2. What if he was made master and he said, I'm going to go and do this. Does somebody want to come with me? And then maybe he wouldn't have killed the Sand People. Maybe he would have found his mum and gone, I'm a master now, mum. I can help you.
I think he needed someone with him.
Yeah.
If he had to sneak off because he wasn't allowed to go.
Yeah.
And so they would never have sent anybody with him because he just straight wasn't allowed to go. So he needed to be master to then go, this is what I'm doing. I'm taking somebody with me.
Yeah.
That other person would then go, would keep him in check. Because even as a master, even if they were an apprentice, if he said, I'm so angry, I'm going to go and kill them all, they would have gone, hang on, think about it. Is this the right thing to do?
Supposed to be a keeper of the peace. You've just been made master.
Yeah.
Don't let your blood boil over.
You've got that responsibility. Maybe that's it. Maybe just having that title, that extra role, just stops him from... It just keeps him in check a bit. Just makes him think twice about what he's about to do.
Yeah.
He is upset, but that doesn't change anything.
No, this is it.
She's dead already.
Yeah.
She's not coming back.
And imagine if it was Obi-Wan who was there and he was able to say, Anakin,
Yeah.
I have the high ground.
This is your future.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah. But yeah, if it was Obi-Wan, and maybe he would have listened to him and said, right, yeah, you're right. Let's go. It's not, it is their fault, but it's not. But then, fast forward 10 minutes, Anakin and Obi-Wan are having a duel because Anakin's got angry and Obi-Wan's gone, but you were Master Anakin. You were supposed to be the best of us.
Yeah.
And Anakin's gone, I'm so angry, I hate you. And then they fight anyway. And then, a film and a half early, we've got Darth Vader. Because instead of in the lava, he's just chopped up on some sand. And there's Palpatine.
That's it.
It's a bit early, but I guess I'll take you now to my little machine.
Yeah, I wonder if that is too early then.
Because he's still very young.
Perhaps what they should have done is instead of saying no, you can't go, is they should have said, we'd like you to pursue this in the future, but right now we need you to go to this place with this person, completely separate.
Yeah.
It would still be on his mind, but in that time he might have a chance to think, and maybe it would just change the course ever so slightly, that by the time he got there he'd matured a touch more, got there, wasn't quite so angry, and that is very tenuous, but maybe that's what they needed. The council always need to give him the feeling of more responsibility, I think. They didn't guide him like they needed to.
No.
And so I think he was lost.
Yeah.
Essentially,
because he was a child, he was a teenager.
Yeah.
Given an army.
Yeah.
To control and given responsibility, yet no responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility without guidance or training.
Yeah, because not only was he asked to look after Palpatine, but he looked after, Padme, who's a big deal.
Yeah.
And you've got a young man looking after a beautiful woman, and look at when they're in the fighting pit. What even is that situation? He's supposed to be making sure she's all right.
Yeah.
And they all got captured, and that was just absolute bonkers. And imagine if he was master then, because they'd only say, well, you're not master now, because that's just silliness, that.
Yeah, that's...
Silliness behaviour. We've all had to come and save your butt, from the Australian creepy crawlies. The meme I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's so difficult because some points of the films, I don't think being a master would change him that much.
No.
Because it's like you say, it's the environment and the person around him that would change his mind. But then because it's a story not written by us, it's got one man who's writing the story and he's pushing for Darth Vader to be.
Yeah.
Anakin would just be an arrogant twat until he became him anyway, I think.
Yeah.
Because the story wouldn't progress without Anakin making a mistake. He has to make that mistake. He has to get that angry. And if it's not there because he's been made master and all of this, then it would only be later on. You know, something would have to be the catalyst almost to make the kettle boil over, because otherwise, like I say, we get to late films down the line, we never have a film like Rogue One because it just wouldn't exist.
No, which would be a shame.
But as well, then, so by the time the third film ends, and Order 66 has happened, because it's a bit different, because the way the Clone Wars is written, Order 66 happens for me very differently on two different sides. So you've got the Jedi Temple side that we see, and the side where they're trying to shoot Obi-Wan and they can't, and Obi-Wan runs off with Yoda. But then in the Clone Wars, there's another internal struggle, and they instantly follow Anakin, the clone troopers, which I've always found a little bit off, because the order is just kill Jedi.
Yeah.
How do they know that Anakin is just the boss now? Because they're following him around in the temple, aren't they? The live action scene where Anakin's walking through, I'm not too sure that should work.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And if he was a master and all was good, and he was at the Jedi Temple defending, I just don't know if the story would canon out enough, because Ahsoka's there, you know. And I know the film was written before the Clone Wars, but I can't see if Anakin's being a master, they would have to kill him off. And I know we touched on this before. They would have to kill him off pretty quick for then the animated finale of Order 66 to then finish correct and in good canon order, because it can still be the same just without Darth Vader at the end.
Yeah.
You know, it would just be Anakin's dead, and then Ahsoka gives up and walks off. You know, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't finished it, but she sort of goes off for a little while until she comes back in Rebels. But there would be no evil Vader, but maybe it would just be, oh, there's an evil Palpatine and an evil Dooku, and now Dooku's this immensely powerful. Or even Maul would come back, or his brother, you know, Visage or whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. Like, he would be the face of it.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't be Anakin, though, would it? It's that thing. It's got to be Anakin to be our little favourite story.
Yeah, it does.
The tragedy of Anakin Skywalker, the legend.
Have you ever heard the tragedy
of Anakin Skywalker?
Yeah. It's exactly what it is.
Because it's a tragic love story. It's Shakespeare all over, sadly. Yeah. And I don't know. Are we trying to fix it by making Anakin a master, or are we just adding a nice little spin to it because we can?
Well, I think it's a little column A,
a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah. Well, I think in conclusion, there was only really one time they could announce him as master.
Yeah, only the one time.
And
they ballsed it up.
Yeah, they failed spectacularly, and that was that. And that's why we have the story we have.
Yeah. No, I agree, and it's a shame, but also really well written, because Mace Windu is arrogant. Yoda is clouded.
Yeah.
So all of these, and it's like you've said before, and you've actually said it. All the tiny little things. There's like a million little ants, and if they all stood on Anakin's shoulders, they'd crush into Darth Vader anyway. Yeah. It doesn't matter that it's one big thing. Doesn't matter, you know, that it's Palpatine who's a big thing. It's not that. It's all the little tiny decisions, and all of the little other outward sources poking him in the back for 3 films and an entire series of clones. You know, but it all adds up to him finally going, all right, okay, that's enough. Not even a god, not even Hercules could hold this on their shoulders, hence why it's a tragedy. And then he gives up in the end, and he bends the knee, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Because
it's his only way out.
It is his only way out, and master or no, I think every man would bend the knee after all of those other little things coming at him. Yeah,
I think you're probably right.
Which is a shame, but yeah. Anakin, you're a master now.
Right, well, I think that about wraps that up.
Yeah.
It's quite a lengthy episode. Let us know. Get in touch on the Instagram. Send us an email. All the links are in the description. Let us know what you think. When do you think would be the best time for him to be master? What outcomes do you think might happen? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, definitely, because it as well. And it's like I said at the beginning, that because of the Clone Wars now and the sort of skew-whiff but okayish canon they've created, does that affect your thoughts on Anakin as a young man becoming a man for all of this responsibility, or do you think you view them as separate things? Because if you view them separately, I'd like to know if you're able to separate the animation and go, it's a totally different thing actually in my eyes, whereas I personally view it as canon. So, get in touch, definitely. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know. Like the if you can get on Apple Podcasts or some of the other places, just give us a little like. Make sure you subscribe. They'll just download straight into your little app, ready to go each week.
And it'll be lovely jubbly.
Yeah, and then if you get a sneaky little bonus episode in there, you won't miss it.
There you go.
Because there might be one or two coming up. You just don't know. But yeah, thank you for listening.
Yeah, be good.
Look after yourselves and stay out of the sand.